it's only been a few days, but I've really missed talking with you. It's kind of crazy. I like this new habit. We go on our walks, we have conversations. So usually I share these valuable lessons that I've been learning coming out of a really bad place, creating self-belief, quitting drinking, getting healthy, moving in a positive direction. And I really want to help as many people as I possibly can find that thing within themselves and get moving in that direction. But today, I'm just going to kind of tell you a little bit about my current battles that I'm going through, because there's a whole lot of ways that I've been winning, but I haven't won yet. And I haven't been on here for a couple days just because I'm in the middle of some really big change in life. And honestly, this is a long, slow struggle from where I started spending that year living out of my SUV on the beach and mountaintops out on the West Coast, quitting drinking, getting fit, and just continuing to snowball and build better and better things and more forward momentum, and really creating that self-belief through challenges, discomfort, and doing hard, uncomfortable things. But one of the lessons I've learned, and I even talked about this a lot the other day, was desire being something really low on the frequency chart. The more we feel desire, the lower our vibes are. Really the worse off it is for us and those that we have an impact on. And there's something really amazing happening in my life. I'll probably cut to a video here in just a moment. But this dream, this thing that I've been pursuing for a long time that's happening, pushed me to start really getting anxious and feeling a lot of desire. I'm currently, after that year, I spent almost $20,000 that year that I didn't have on an engine and transmission right before I departed, and then breaking down on the road. It really set me back. And, I started my marketing company. I'm making good money, but $20,000 is a lot to dig out of in your first year in business. So I've got earnest money down on a piece of land now, a beautiful, small, rural piece of land up in the mountains, exactly where I've always dreamt of going to. I've got water, I've got electricity, $10,000 for an acre. Nothing crazy, but almost no building restrictions too. I can basically do what I want. It is in a small community up there, and I'm pretty excited about it. Part of the vision for becoming part of this community, for those of you who followed me from my big main channel with all my views and followers and all that, you've seen this cool SUV that I built to travel and live out of. But it's no longer sustainable. Running a company, living out of an SUV, it's ridiculous, but it's the route I've come up with to stop playing the game, to always have to sell my life to somebody else, one invoice at a time, one paycheck at a time, trading hours for dollars just to try to be able to pay rent, when I can be using that time to build this with you, to build a true future, to have an impact, to create, and to move forward towards owning this land, building something out of it, and eventually creating a camp where I can bring other men who they need help getting their momentum started. They need to surround themselves with the influence of others that understand where they're at and understand where they can get going, where they can go to, and just kind of help them find the beginning of that direction. So that's my big dream and goal. Now, I think we can do some stuff right on this property, but we're going to go out. I mean, there's National Forest, Bureau of Land Management, national parks, all kinds of amazing things just really close there. So it's just going to be an awesome place to be kind of the headquarters, the home base for what we're going to do together. Hang on, it's getting awfully bright. So this place will soon be, have the rest of the money, not dealing with the bank, take title in a few days. And the next phase in that is a more livable four-wheel drive camper that I can travel, have adventures, create content with, and it's really my true key to freedom, owning this land and having a 4x4 truck with an actual space, with a refrigerator, with a microwave, with an air conditioner, with a heater, with a stove in the back, but still having four-wheel drive and ground clearance and being able to go anywhere. Like I said, there's Bureau of Land Management, which is basically free national forest land you can drive out on, camp on, do all kinds of things. And I'll set up my mobile Wi-Fi, drive up to a mountaintop somewhere, and create, just like I was doing out there on the West Coast. But then I have home base to come back to. So, knowing that I've hit a point now where there's also a certain amount I need to spend to make sure I get what's called a Section 179 depreciation. I'm still learning this stuff, but I've got an LLC, I've got a business that's generating income, and a part of this, I need this vehicle. I've been dreaming of it for a long time, just like I dreamt of the last one. And now, between now and the end of the year, I need to spend around $30,000 on a vehicle that will be used for the business legitimately, and that will eliminate, I think, around $5,000 of taxes that I'm going to have to pay out of pocket otherwise. So by actually finding a good vehicle that's kind of pricey, but I'm not paying rent, not paying mortgage, that is really a key to the next steps here. And man, desire, anxiety, feeling like I have to make this happen right now really got a hold of me. And I'm currently living in a borrowed camper. At the moment, I'm house sitting for family who now has the camper and is out of state for a couple of weeks. And it's obnoxious being my age and just getting bounced around from one place to the next to the next. I was renting my family's home after they bought a new spot, and then they sold it by owner, and I had about a day to completely shake my life up. And it's just it's been just so chaotic the last month and a half. So then I get hasty to solve this problem, to buy this fancy vehicle, to hurry up and make all this happen. Now, our credit score is over 800. I've already been pre-approved. Almost bought one, had a mechanic look at it. It was a piece of junk. And I've gotten caught up in anxiety about all this. And I need to solve this right now. I want to do this right now. But then I take a deep breath, look around, realize, and everything I've been moving towards is falling into place. And even more, I've got the gratitude that I found my mission and my purpose. You know how many, excuse me, I'm getting drooly, I'm getting emotional. You know how many people go through life without truly having mission or purpose? They just survive, trade their hours for dollars, hate their lives, escape from it through some form of comfort, vice, or addiction, and then they get old and die. And there's less and less people making families. I don't have kids. I was married once. I've never had the desire to have kids, but I'm sure if I was in the right relationship with the right woman, it might seem amazing. But I'm not going to go out and get myself in the wrong relationship with the wrong woman just to have kids. That's not fair to anybody, especially not those kids. Mission and purpose. The fact that I have those alone are something to be so grateful for. Getting the exact piece of land that I found a year ago went off the market. I was heartbroken. I almost bought a way bigger piece of land. I almost bought 36 acres. Then I would have had to spend another $20,000 plus on a well. And then I wouldn't have even had the vehicle. I wouldn't have been able to afford it. I wouldn't have gotten the tax write-off. It was the wrong time, and I would have been behind the 8 ball, and I would have had to keep selling a whole lot of my time, which was taking away from my mission and my purpose. So by going conservative at this moment, I did the right thing, because I have the self-belief that I will be able to create everything I need to in life, to have the bigger piece of land, to have my own well, although this place has a community well, which is protected. I think they even went to Supreme Court and won a case to keep the big city's hands out of our water supply. So, as I've talked about desire, and I think I've gotten really good in life overall about not having much. But at this moment, trying to solve this problem, trying to get my life stable and stop getting bounced around like a ping pong ball or a pinball, having my life at the mercy of the circumstances and people around me. I need to just take a breath, be grateful. There's so many amazing things going on. And this moment, like many other challenging moments that I chose to subject myself to, is meant to build me, is meant to challenge me. Because it's not that challenging, man. When I look at the stuff I've gone through, I look at the stuff other people are in, there's real challenges out there. And this too shall pass. So, when I do get hit with these things that put me into a little bit lower vibration, I'm glad that I'm conscious now. I am able to, recognize and understand it and realize, yeah, this is going to pass. But not that long ago, just a few years ago, I wouldn't have even dealt with it. I would have just numbed it away. I would have just gotten crunk. I would have wasted money, been unhealthy, poisoned my body. I wouldn't have been pursuing any purpose. And, more than anything now, I just get to be grateful that I can be out walking. I've told you before, I had about 6 months that I couldn't walk. And so just being able to be out here and walk is pretty amazing. Being able to be out in public with my shirt off and feel totally confident about it, that's pretty amazing. Being confident to talk with you right here, right now, I'm really grateful for it. So, I'm just going to keep on moving forward. Like I say, there's just 4 things that matter, and if I keep doing them, everything is going to work out. That's never drink, always eat right, always work out, always keep creating. I'll just stick with those. No matter how good or bad things get at any point, don't change those habits up. I get up 7 days a week for these hour-long walks now. I've actually dialed back my strength training to 4 days a week, really trying to get past tendonitis I've been fighting for well over a year in one of my elbows, and more focused on just this last step of leaning out before I get to start bulking up. I want to have every single line on my body absolutely perfect, every single pinch of fat gone, and then when I'm focusing on bulking, my body will soften up all around versus the fat sticking off my back growing first, because that's what I think would happen right now. Just the last little pinch of something I want to get rid of. Might seem crazy, might seem ridiculous. I'm in my mid-40s, and you don't see too many pear-shaped mid-40-year-old men do what I've done with their body over a matter of almost 4 years. No peptides, no testosterone, no Ozempic, no shortcuts, just good habits and consistency and no back steps. So if there's a message that I want to share, on this video for you, it's the same as always. Create those good habits, stick with them, don't move backwards. These amazing things aren't supposed to happen overnight. They're not supposed to happen in a matter of weeks, months, or even a couple years usually. But keep moving forward with self-belief and conviction in the direction you're supposed to be moving. And I wholeheartedly believe it will pay off. And that's one of those things here. I'm winning. I'm moving in that direction, but I haven't won this part yet. I think I got 42 followers on this channel. Other one's got about 8,000, but I'm not making videos over there anymore. This one has purpose. That one was just me showing cool stuff. So, $1 million and 1 million followers. Those are my next 2 big KPIs after I get this last pinch of fat off my back. And it's amazing how freaking hard it is to get that lean after being as pear-shaped and soft and out of shape as I was. And another crazy lesson I learned with that was, I really really overdid the fasting and the protein sparing modified fast is what they called it. I was living off of, I was doing 16 to 19 hours fasting a day, and then when I was eating, it was boiled chicken and yogurt, and my body went catabolic. It was eating itself. It ate up all my white blood cells. I was like, something like 2,800 or less than that, which I think healthy is like 14,000. I'm not a doctor, but I know it was so low that there's some big crazy word to explain that. But I really developed some grit and some resilience through that too, and that was extremely valuable. So, hope I don't get copyrighted on his music. So, I don't have my first $1 million or 1 million followers, but those are the next 2 big KPIs after shredding this last little pinch of back fat off. And yeah, maybe that seems crazy to be so vain about that, but I set a goal. I'm going to see it through. I'm going to achieve it, and I'm damn close. Probably won't even seem like I have any here. Yeah, you can probably see that. I get rid of that. And then I get to start focusing on sticking some more muscle onto this lean body with nice posture. I got another video about how to fix your posture too, how to analyze and fix it. I'm not the guy that does it. It's just a link to a guy that taught me. So check that out too. Maybe I'll put a link in this one. Yeah, that's enough rambling for now. I think I'm going to come up with a message that has some purpose and start walking the other direction so we can get the sunlight in the right direction again. Thanks for sharing my journey. Catch you later.